In 1946, a journalist asked Sister Lucia if the United States would be included in the nations affected by communism, to which she replied, "Yes." This comment, though brief, left an indelible mark on the interpretation of the Fatima prophecies, connecting these warnings to a future filled with global uncertainty. But what does this prediction really mean? And is it possible that Russia's current actions are linked to events prophesied decades ago? The answers to these questions lead to reflections on Russia's consecration decisions to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, a direct request from Our Lady of Fatima. If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. Sister Lucia, the main visionary of the apparitions, pointed out on multiple occasions that the consecration never took place according to the requirements established by Our Lady. In her words, there was no participation of all the bishops and no mention of Russia specifically. This omission, according to many believers, is key to understanding why the prophecies related to Russia remain unresolved. In addition, Blessed Elena Aiello and Sister Agnes of Akita offered visions that reinforced these warnings. Aiello predicted that Russia will march on the nations of Europe and that Italy would be severely punished for its sins, even mentioning the dispersion of the Catholic flock and the suffering of the Pope. For her part, Agnes of Akita saw a future of violent conflict, describing massacres of priests and religious, and a Europe bloodied by war. In this context, the words of Conchita González, seer of Garabandal, take on a disturbing significance. Quoting Padre Pio, she mentioned that the great wonder of God will have to be paid for with much blood throughout Europe, which seems to be related to a Russian invasion. All this suggests that despite attempts at peace, humanity remains in danger by not heeding these heavenly warnings. The question remains, what should we do as a society to avoid these apocalyptic scenarios? Perhaps the answer lies in the insistent call for prayer, fasting and conversion, acts that, according to the seers, could change the course of events. However, the gravity of these prophecies demands a profound examination and concrete actions to face the times to come. In the mid-20th century, a series of messages attributed to figures such as Blessed Helena Aiello and Sister Agnes of Akita painted a bleak picture for the spiritual future of humanity. Among the most disturbing warnings were visions of firestorms and extraordinary signs in the sky as preambles to divine punishment. In 1950, Aiello described how Satan seemed to rule over the earth, dragging countless souls to hell, many of them consecrated to God. These images, shocking and laden with symbolism, continue to resonate in the hearts of the faithful. These warnings, though conveyed decades ago, seem more relevant than ever in a world where signs of spiritual crisis are multiplying. Their words seek not only to instill fear, but also to awaken hearts to a life of conversion and prayer. It is a powerful reminder that the fight against evil is not only waged in the visible realms, but within each soul. If you feel these revelations resonating in your life and are looking for a way to deepen your understanding of their meaning, you are not alone. This is exactly what The Secret of Jesus' Apparitions offers, a path to clarity and peace through his revelations. This ebook delves into his prophecies and offers a glimpse of what lies ahead. It is available for free in the anchored commentary. Grab it now before editions run out. In a field of flames and smoke, Blessed Helena beheld souls submerged in what she described as a sea of fire, a chastisement that would not be man-made but initiated by angels. The Blessed Mother, deeply moved by humanity's lack of repentance, asked for prayer and sacrifice, pleading that the course of the chastisement be halted. These words were echoed years later in the apparitions of Akita, Japan, where Sister Agnes Sasagawa received similar warnings of a future marked by fire falling from the sky and a devastated humanity, reduced to such an extreme that the survivors would envy the dead. The central message of these prophecies is clear. The time to act is now. The Blessed Virgin insisted on the use of the rosary as the main weapon against evil, a symbol of faith and hope in times of crisis. "Every day say the prayers of the rosary," she asked, noting that this devotion not only protects those who practice it, but also strengthens the unity of the Church in the midst of internal divisions. In a particularly poignant vision, there was talk of cardinals at odds with each other, divided bishops and ransacked altars, showing a vulnerable but still standing Church. This call to action also includes priests and faithful, facing increasing challenges inside and outside the Church. The infiltration of evil, according to the visions, will spare no one, increasing the weight of collective responsibility to pray, repent, and convert. Although the picture described is dark, the prophecies never lose sight of hope, reminding us that through sacrifice, faith, and prayer, humanity can change its destiny. In a small church in northern Italy, in the winter of 1950, a group of the faithful gathered for a prayer vigil. Among them was an elderly priest, known for his fervent devotion and his accounts of the visions Blessed Helena Aiello shared with the community. That night, as the cold raged outside, he related how Helena had described a supernatural fire that the angels would unleash as a purification for humanity. This fire was not only a punishment, but also an act of divine love, a final attempt to call souls toward reconciliation with God. As he narrated, the priest held up an ancient, worn rosary, urging those present not only to pray devoutly, but also to offer each bead as a shield against temptations and a reminder of divine graces. An elderly woman timidly interrupted, asking if the rosary could really be enough against such a vast evil. He, with a warm but serious smile, replied, "The rosary is the cord that keeps us connected to heaven. When all seems lost, it will be our strength." These visions call us to reflect and prepare ourselves spiritually. If you are looking for guidance in facing these challenging times, remember that you can download our special resource. Copies are running out, so don't miss this opportunity. In the midst of the prayers, a young woman named Margarita recalled her grandmother's words about St. Michael the Archangel, the heavenly protector of souls. She stood up and shared how her family, during the war, had invoked the Archangel in times of mortal danger, feeling his protective presence even in the darkest moments. Her testimony moved the group, who began reciting the prayer to St. Michael together, asking for his intervention in the spiritual struggles of their daily lives. Later that evening, Margarita confessed to the priest her concerns about the times ahead. "Father, the messages of Helena and other saints fill me with fear. What can we really do?" He calmly advised her, "Fear can paralyze you, my daughter, or it can impel you to act in faith. Constant prayer, the sacraments, and total surrender to God's will are the most powerful tools you have. But remember, true preparation begins in your heart." That evening marked a before and after for Margarita and many of those present. Inspired by the example of faith and the admonitions conveyed, they committed themselves to live each day as an opportunity for conversion, not only for themselves, but for those who still remained far from divine grace. In a forgotten corner of a chapel in Poland, in early 1943, a young nun named Sister Magdalena related a series of visions that had disturbed her spiritual peace. According to her words, she had seen a sky covered by an intense reddish haze, as if blood itself was staining the clouds. In her visions, she heard a firm but compassionate voice warning, "When men forget my mercy, justice will claim its course." These words, though never officially acknowledged, spread by word of mouth, making an impact on the small community. In parallel, during those war years, other messages were reported in different parts of Europe. In a monastery in Belgium, Brother Joachim, known for his dedication to the study of the Holy Scriptures, said they got a message while they were praying fervently. "The evil one seeks to divide, but those who remain steadfast in the faith will be like pillars that will support what is left standing." During the bombings, this message gave the faithful strength and inspired them to hold prayer vigils and fasts every night in the hopes of calming the coming events. Around 1952, in a remote village in the Swiss Alps, a woman named Anna, a mother of 4, shared a life-changing spiritual experience. During a time of great economic uncertainty, she claimed to have seen a bright light that revealed to her a warning about moral decay. "The greatest battle will not be in the fields or in the heavens, but in the hearts of men," Anna recalled the voice telling her. Some people didn't believe this message, but for others, it was an urgent call to return to traditional values and turn away from sin. In each of these stories, although scattered and not officially recognized, a common theme resonated: spiritual preparation in the face of times of trial. These isolated experiences, shared by people from different places and contexts, nurtured a silent fervor that helped sustain the faith of entire communities in times of great adversity. Without seeking the limelight, these unknown figures demonstrated that the voice of heaven can manifest itself in the most unexpected places and through the humblest of people. In the midst of these troubling warnings, hope remains a powerful light. You can get more information about this message and understand it better by downloading the ebook linked in the first comments. There are very few copies left. At the Second Vatican Council, held between 1962 and 1965, some cardinals raised concerns about the interpretation and dissemination of messages related to Marian apparitions and prophecies. One of the most controversial issues was the incomplete revelation of the third secret of Fatima. Although publicly presented as a warning about the suffering of the Pope and the Church, internal voices argued that the original content contained more explicit details about the consequences of spiritual estrangement in the world. These discussions, many of them behind closed doors, marked a point of tension in the Church hierarchy. In the 1970s, the Church faced another challenge when the Akita, Japan, apparitions began to gain notoriety. Sister Agnes Sasagawa had received messages describing a future in which cardinals and bishops would oppose each other, an omen that many saw as a direct reference to internal Vatican divisions. Although the Church officially acknowledged the Akita apparitions, not all statements were widely disseminated, prompting criticism from more conservative sectors that called for full transparency. During the same period, some groups within the Church began to promote the specific consecration of Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, as requested by Our Lady at Fatima. However, this request met with resistance from certain Church leaders, who argued that the political tensions of the Cold War complicated the possibility of such a consecration in a public and universal way. Despite Pope John Paul II's attempts in 1984 to carry out this act, some specialists in Mariology pointed out that the conditions mentioned by Sister Lucia were not met, leaving open the question of its validity. Meanwhile, in local communities, devotional movements such as the Apostles of the End Times began to emerge, inspired by the prophecies and apparitions recognized by the Church. These groups, though small, played a crucial role in keeping the faith alive among the laity, organizing days of prayer, pilgrimages, and acts of reparation. At their meetings, they discussed not only heavenly warnings, but also the role of the Church as a spiritual guide in times of turmoil. Thus, the internal divisions and the handling of these messages reflected not only the complexities of the Church hierarchy, but also the constant struggle to preserve unity in the face of mounting external and internal pressures. In recent years, global events have led many communities to interpret Marian prophecies with a renewed sense of urgency. In 2020, during the global confinement, a small group of faithful in Lisbon organized virtual prayer vigils, invoking Our Lady of Fatima and meditating on the messages of consecration and conversion. When these online meetings first started, there were only a few dozen people there. But very quickly, thousands of people from all over the world joined. Simultaneously, in Latin America, a group of religious initiated a prayer campaign under the slogan Rosaries for Humanity. Inspired by the Akita apparitions, they recited the Rosary daily in remembrance of the warnings about division within the Church and the importance of faith as a weapon against the influence of evil. Each session included reflections on how current challenges, such as the political and climate crises, reflected the need to return to the teachings of the Gospel. Heavenly messages have always offered a path of faith and strength. If you feel these words resonate with you, be sure to get your free copy of the ebook before they sell out. It's waiting for you. In Rome, some theologians began to explore the links between Marian prophecies and modern spiritual challenges. One of them, Father Angelo Moretti, organized a conference in 2021 entitled Faith in Times of Uncertainty. During his talk, Moretti posited that the fire described in the Akita visions could be interpreted not only as a physical punishment, but also as a spiritual purification affecting the collective consciousness. The fire from heaven, he argued, may be symbolic of a call to be reborn in faith. If this message makes you think and you feel it connects with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Also, if you really want to support our work and help us continue to create valuable content, consider giving us a super thanks. Join this amazing community and don't miss any news. In parallel, the resurgence of Marian devotions among young people became a remarkable phenomenon. In countries such as the Philippines and Poland, public rosaries organized by youth groups took on a massive character. In Manila, an annual event called Light of Mary attracted more than 10,000 people in 2022, where participants offered prayers for world peace and spiritual unity. These contemporary movements show how the warnings and messages of the past continue to resonate in a world facing different but equally significant challenges. From digital vigils to mass gatherings, the faithful seek comfort and guidance in the words transmitted by Our Lady, reinforcing the importance of faith in times of trial. These events, though diverse in form, share a common goal: to respond to the heavenly call with a renewed spirit of hope and commitment.